So he's finally going to be able to get number one targets. He's
We're
finally going to be able to
We're
get
gonna
number
we're
one
gonna
targets.
we're gonna watch this together, guys. We're gonna watch this together.
All right, so Brandon, you going against Carolina's defense? They suck.
But we can talk about fantasy a little bit. As we have just finished up all of our regularly programmed content. I don't even know if this is probably won't make a video of this. I think I just have 3 or 4 videos. But yeah, Tua. Let's just talk about the trade we just made. You gave me Tua. I gave you Lazard. Kyle has his obnoxious comments as always. please alert from the top rope. Like I want to just grab his face sometimes and just squeeze as hard as I possibly can because he annoys me.
So
let's be real.
It's a fair trade.
Well, on paper, you win the trade. On paper of points of better player, really. Lazard. Yeah, you got
as of right now.
Tua has the concern.
So Tua has the concern of the concussion.
I don't know what I'm gonna have him.
However, if he comes back, when he comes back, he's gonna be a top 10 quarterback for you.
Probably.
He still has Tyreek Hill. He still has Jalen Waddle.
Yes, and there is no run game in Miami.
It's really going to be screens, and that's his.
I'm really looking long term with this. Like when am I playing Allen Lazard? You look at my fantasy lineup. Maybe I have on the screen. Maybe this isn't even a video. I don't know. You look at my lineup. You look at the wide receivers I have. I have Amon-Ra and Sutton as my starters. Then you fall to the bench. I have Olave maybe in my flex. Maybe Miles Sanders. Haven't figured that one out yet. Then you have Adam Thielen, who I still really like. He's finally getting more involved in the Minnesota offense. Hasn't really had much touchdown production. But I like all 4 of those guys. And I like Lazard too. Like I tried flipping Allen Lazard for Jared Goff, and obviously Adam wouldn't bite on that.
Adam once again asking too much. Big shock.
Oh, who would have thought? But he's 4-0, so he's kind of allowed to. But I am looking more towards the future and realizing Lazard probably never seeing my starting lineup. Meanwhile, Tua, with how Russell Wilson's playing, with how Mariota had 3 points last week, disrespectful or whatever he said, whatever Adam said,
embarrassing.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he said. I am looking to the future, never playing Lazard, whereas Tua, he can't be my quarterback. He possibly can, and also he could be a good trade piece if I want to even improve on quarterback from there.
Yeah, exactly. Like you couldn't really package Russ or Mariota for anyone.
Yeah, I tried. It was just no bite.
You can't. It's just you might as well just overpay and then drop them. Like
this was like the third. This is like the third quarterback trade that we saw this week in our league.
Yeah, and I mean I have at starter. I have Justin Herbert. It's so many mediocre wide receivers on my team.
Ooh, look, Javonte Williams is on waivers.
Yeah, go ahead and pick him up.
Okay.
So I mean, for my team, I have T. Higgins, who is a fantasy wide receiver 1. He has actually outproduced Jamar Chase so far this season in fantasy.
Yes.
I have Amari Cooper, who he's going to be boomer bust really with Brissett, but I think he'll be a solid number 1 receiver once Deshaun Watson comes back. If he actually plays well, that's also another thing because he didn't look good in preseason.
It's you and Tyrell playing this week.
Yeah, I know, and I'm without Jonathan Taylor this week, and I'm starting Chase Edmonds. That's gonna be interesting.
He has to score a touchdown to be anything.
Yeah.
I
have Mark Andrews, so I'm hoping for a really big game from him. So here's my dilemma: is at flex I have Brandon Ayuk, who's going against Carolina. Ayuk, how you don't like him?
Nope.
I say, he's been covered by number 1 corners in the past 2 games.
I say he's not good.
So in his past 2 games, he's been covered by Pat Surtain and Jalen Ramsey. He's been shadowed by both of those guys over Debo. That's, that may be for a reason, maybe because they throw Debo all around the field in many different ways. That could be that, or maybe it's that he's a better route runner than Debo. I don't know. I haven't watched that much film to actually tell you that, but I can tell you that there is a reason.
Can we take a second to hop in a time machine? I'd like to hop in a time machine all the way back to August of 2021. The Brandon Ayuk hype is real. Everyone's saying he is going to be the wide receiver 1 in this offense. Let's hop back in the time machine. What has he done since August 2021 that has made you think he is a good receiver?
Be open and get targets. He's gotten targets.
Start of the season last year.
He's gotten targets from Garoppolo.
He got benched last year because of a work ethic issue.
But he's fixed that work ethic issue.
He has. He has never had a good rapport with Garoppolo. They have never had chemistry.
Since Garoppolo came in, he had eight targets, and 4 targets. He had 4 targets last week against Ramsey. He was being shadowed by Ramsey. And honestly, if it wasn't for his block, Debo doesn't get that 57-yard touchdown. Obviously, that's not really fantasy relevant. I just want to throw it out there.
I also like to bring up that you're talking to somebody who drafted him last year.
Okay, I had him last year too.
To watch him just
suck
the life out of me.
I understand
as
that.
a fantasy owner,
but
he's not done much to change that this year. He really hasn't.
Last year, if you look at his
best game's 13 points.
If you look at his games last year, not
13 points.
If you look at his games, the way he played last year, he didn't have that thrive for the game. He didn't play the game. This year, he's taken a big leap.
The 13 points.
Bro, he's running.
Fantasy, all that is fine and dandy. It means literally as much as that trash can over there. You know what matters? Points.
Okay.
Production.
Look,
catches, yards, touchdowns. Not even 13. I'm actually rounding up. 12.9 is his best this year. And I would like to speak to the people right now on a bet that we have. So this is live on camera. You say both Zay Jones, who is not that good either, had a good game. Ooh, okay. And then Brandon Ayuk are going to both drop 20 each.
Yes, this week. So Brandon Ayuk is going against the Carolinas defense, which is absolutely abysmal. Their secondary sucks. So he's finally going to be able to get number 1 targets. He's finally going to be able to get number 1 targets.
We're gonna watch this together, guys. We're gonna watch this together.
All right, so Brandon Ayuk going against Carolina's defense. They suck. He's going to get, around 8-9 targets, maybe even more, and he's going to get the ball. He's actually going to score a touchdown in this game. He's going to get over 20 points. And then Zay Jones going against Houston's absolutely terrible defense, and he's going to light him up. You could see last week how much they missed Zay Jones in that pass game. They try to force the ball so many times.
Are you guys still listening? Because I'm not.
They try to force the ball so many times over to Christian Kirk because Zay Jones wasn't there. That is his second favorite target outside of Christian Kirk is Zay Jones. If you look at his target share over the first 3 games, he had 9 targets in week 1. In week 2, when they barely threw the ball, he had the second most targets on the team. And last week, or week 3 against the Chargers, he had 11 targets. Last week he didn't play. He had an ankle injury, but he is coming back for this week.
If he doesn't come back, our bet's still eligible.
No. If he doesn't play, the bet's off.
Oh my gosh.
If he doesn't play, the bet's off. But he should be able to play. But then also on my bench, I have Lazard back on my team, number 1 receiver for Green Bay. I also have Romeo Doubs.
How'd you beat me week 1?
Because you suck.
My team did suck back then.
Yes.
But now my team's great.
My team's good too, except Jonathan Taylor.
Well, you had like 3 guys. Well, actually,
I
had Miami defense go off 2.
Yeah. I had
2 guys get above 20.
Running backs went off.
Right, Allen Robinson in my starting lineup. That's where that was my first red flag.
So I mean, but
looking at my team then compared to now, I'm very happy with the moves I've made.
Yeah, well, I mean, so going down my list again, I have Romeo Doubs, who he's getting more involved in the Green Bay offense, but once again, like we said earlier, if he gets a drop, he's not being targeted for at least 2 quarters. And then I actually was smart here, and you admitted it was a smart move.
I love you actually, because you and intelligence don't necessarily go hand in hand.
I made a smart move, and I went and I picked up Jameson Williams off of waivers and stashed him on my IR. And he should be coming back after their bye week, which their bye week is. It's not next week, or actually, it is next week.
It is next week.
So
as an Amon-Ra owner, I know it's next week.
So they have this week against the Patriots, and then they have their bye week, and then he should be coming back with Swift the following week. And that high-powered offense, I believe that has the potential. If anything, it's whatever. He's a depth piece at this point. So if he pops off, great. If not, it's whatever. Similar to who I also have stashed on my IR, Brian Robinson, who I've stashed since week 1 on my IR, is potentially coming back this week. I've heard sometime from some people that he will.
He's gonna be limited.
He's gonna be extremely. He's being extreme. There's a difference between being limited, extremely limited, and then getting a heavy workload.
He's probably gonna get like 4 carries. 4 or
so
5 carries.
I've heard that he might get
routes.
I've heard he might get that. I heard that he might get up to 15 carries. So
let's be real. Let's look at it. What logic speaks. He's gonna have.
That's why he's riding
5 or 6 carries.
That's why he's riding.
Which is the right decision to make. I mean, I want to propose this out to you. Not propose, but just I want to hear your thoughts. Projection wise, Miles Sanders and Olave are literally separated by 0.1 points. Sanders now RB9 had an absolute fantastic week last week against Jacksonville. Are going against Arizona, so another weak defensive line, actually weaker defensive line.
Play him.
But then there's Olave, who's been an absolute tank, and
but he's gonna be guarded by AJ Terrell.
He is getting Jameis Winston back.
But he's
AJ Terrell. Playing Seahawks.
They're playing Seahawks. Oh,
yeah. He played.
I was thinking they played the Falcons first. I had a brain fart. Sorry, guys.
No, yeah, they already played him, and AJ Terrell did a good job. Only 3 catches for 41 yards. But you see, is Winston coming back?
I'm not sure.
He's
questionable. I think he's a game time decision.
I think Winston's coming back, but you look at
there's so many
Tampa and Carolina. He had 13 targets in both against Tampa Bay and Carolina last week. 7 targets, 4 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown.
It really just depends on if Michael Thomas comes back. Because when Michael Thomas isn't there, he's the leading receiver. If Michael Thomas is there, then he bumps down to number 2.
I have to have this decided by 12:55 on Sunday because Olave plays at 1. Who do I go with? I don't.
If Michael Thomas starts, bench him for Sanders. If Michael Thomas does not start. But
even when Thomas was playing, he was still getting 13 targets. Like that didn't.
That was just week 1. That was
week 1. He only had 4. He had 3 catches. He only had 3 catches for 41 yards week 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought everybody went off
with offense. Michael Thomas in the lineup. Or I'm very. And whatever you like, it is like I'm not just gonna go with whatever you say, but just right now, don't say if this, if that. Who are you going with between Sanders and Olave?
Sanders.
Yeah,
it's Sanders is at a point where his floor is,
I'm playing Adam, so I need every point that I need.
Sanders is at a point where his floor is 14 points, 12 to 14 points, and he can boom for 20 plus. He did get 2 touchdowns last week, which, obviously helped him,
You can't say that's his floor because against Washington the week before, he only had 5.4 points.
Oh, that's right. But they didn't really.
He has been boom or bust. I'm right now, I'm being honest, I'm leaning Olave.
But
I'm leaning Olave, and I really don't want to watch this video back in a few days because I was leaning one way or the other, and I went with the wrong guy. I'm leaning Olave right now. Leaning just slightly because it is such a minute difference. Arizona is 21st in the league against the run, but somehow Seattle's actually 8th against the pass. I didn't even know that because I couldn't even name you a single corner on the Seahawks. I know they have Blitz Boy, but he's also out for the season, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's out for the season.
I don't know. I'm leaning Olave. That's what I will say. I'm like leaning Olave. I might even try to flip Miles Sanders.
The thing is that Kamara was also significantly hurt for the past 2.5 games.
This is true. So once he comes back, because he is coming back, and I will say
Jameis Winston isn't Drew Brees though. He doesn't really toss it off to the side to.
Kamara had 9 targets in week
1.
I'm sorry, he had 7 targets. He had 7 targets week 3 against Carolina. I thought that said 9 for some reason. He had 7 targets, so he has look this way 4 targets against Atlanta.
That is one thing that Sanders lacked.
Against his Minnesota. I'm sorry. They played Minnesota last week. They're going against Seattle. Seattle's 30th against the run. We saw what Jamal Williams did to them last week. So Kamara, I'm not even questioning about Kamara. Kamara's staying in my lineup. But do I want to put both in there against a bad Seattle defense?
See, I think that it's really going to be I think you should just go Sanders. That's my final.
So you're playing. Oh,
I'm playing Tyrell.
Two saucy matchups because for different reasons. You guys have just been. I'm surprised both of you are still breathing. At this
So
point
we
in
actually
time.
even haven't even talked that much trash. The extent of the trash talk has gone.
Marcelo.
Well, no, I was saying between me and Tyrell this week has really just been when Jonathan Taylor was announced out, he said GG's. So that kind of got to me a little bit.
We kind of have a Denny's Bowl Part 3. We have Chris taking on Joey. Taking on Joe. Joe did manage to sniff out his second win of the season, and according to ESPN, going into last week, he actually was the worst team in the league.
Who is the worst team though? It is Marcelo.
It is Marcelo, is it?
Yeah.
It's Marcelo. Then it's Jay. Oh dang, yeah.
Oh, Javonte Williams.
Yeah, Jay's team really bad. So,
well, I mean, the top 3 teams go Adam, you, and then me.
Bro, next week is the we need to find a new name for it because we keep calling it the Denny's Bowl, but next week is the actual Denny's Bowl. We have Chris and Marcelo.
Oh yes, let's go.
Somebody has to win. Imagine
tie.
Like they got 69 apiece. Because I have it in.
Marcelo actually almost beat me last week.
I don't have a tiebreaker. Yeah, he did. He could have too.
He could have.
I don't have a tiebreaker. So if it's a tie, it's a tie.
Yeah. Higbee actually kind of almost did me in for my heart attack last week.
If he gets in the end zone, it's a different game.
Yeah,
because that's an additional at minimum 7 points. And how much did you beat him by?
I beat him by 10.
Okay, so I mean, you were kind of comfortable.
So I pretty much just needed Ayuk to hold my lead, and he did that. He had 3 catches for like 30-something yards. He had 7.7 points.
Kyle's currently a 15-point favorite over Marcelo. Obviously,